Okay, so a little bit later on, you're going to be writing your own Part A answer on living space. But what I want to do is I want you just to watch this video, which is going to show you how to write an introduction / overview and an opening poem on living space. So you've got something that you can use as an example to help you when you write your own, but also you can see the thought process behind it as well. So an introduction needs to explain what the poem is about. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to teach you to write an overview, which is a much higher level version of an introduction. And it's where that you need to clearly show the examiner you understand the meaning, the mood, and what the writer's intentions might have been in writing the whole poem. So we're thinking about the poem overall rather than just one little aspect at the start. So I want to make it very clear to the examiner that I know what the poem is about. So Living Space is a poem about the slums of Mumbai. Now remember, my question is about settings, so I'm making sure that this is focused. Living Space is a poem about the slums of Mumbai. So that's my meaning. Then I'm going to talk about the mood of the poem. The poem has a positive mood despite reflecting a difficult environment. Okay, so that's kind of the mood of the poem. It's got a positive mood, although it reflects somewhere difficult. This could reflect how Darker, so that's the name of the poet. It's always good to use a poet's name. How Darker wants to show how the people living in the slums have hope and faith in spite of their living conditions. Okay, so I'm not analysing anything in the poem. I've got 3 sentences. I've got one about the meaning of the poem. I've got a sentence about the mood of the poem. And I've got a sentence about what the writer might be intending with this work. Okay, and then what you want to do is you want to move into your PAL paragraph. So you want 3 to 4 PAL paragraphs, and it's really important you start at the beginning, you have a PAL from the beginning, you have 1 or 2 PALs from the middle, and you have a PAL from the end. The examiner wants to see you can track through the poem. And actually, if you can spot shifts in tone as you go through, again, that is something really good to look out for. So I'm going to focus on the first line of the poem. Now, you can use the title. Remember, titles are parts of poems, but I'm going to use the first line of the poem. So Darker uses the imagery. In fact, let's go with Darker presents the slums. I'm focused on the setting. Darker presents the slums as not being enough to support the people who live there. The imagery, so I'm using my subject terminology. So I've done my point, now I'm doing my evidence. The imagery, not enough. Okay, so I've got my point, Darker presents the slums. My point is the slums are presented as not being enough to support the people who live there. The imagery, not enough, suggests that people in the slums have to go without things. Now, I'm going to write in this PAL at probably about a grade 5 level, and obviously if you're going for grades higher than that, then you might want to think about being a little bit more specific, writing in a little bit more detail. So I've got my point, I've got my evidence, and I've got my analysis. So I've got what I think the quote means. Now I want to go into my what the reader thinks, feels, and imagines, and the writer's intentions. Now you can tie these together, which actually can save you time. So Darker may be intended to make the reader imagine the tough living conditions in these slums. So that's her intention. What I want to do is I want to try and link this to context as well. So she might be intending to make the reader imagine the tough living conditions in these slums in order to draw global attention to this area of poverty. Darker has always campaigned for awareness of the slum living conditions. So if you can see that I've actually got like a real life piece of information, so that's my context. So that's more than enough for my first pearl, and then I might go on and look at another couple of bits there, but hopefully that will help you if you're stuck. Now you don't have to use this, and like I said, this is maybe like a high grade 5 level. So if you're pushing for some of those higher grades, think about some of the extra ideas you heard in Mr. Knight's video earlier on as well.